Today we are going to be talking about this book. So this is Witchcraft on a Shoestring, Practicing the Craft Without Breaking Your Budget by Deborah Blake. So much like all of the other Deborah Blake books, I think this is a fantastic resource for anyone to have. The title kind of says it all. It's really about trying to make the craft accessible and give you ideas of different things you can try to do that aren't going to break the budget. There's nothing really revolutionary in this, so do keep that in mind. Like, there's nothing that's like groundbreaking that you probably haven't heard of, but it's nice to have it all in one little book. She also does give you a number of ideas of different things to try, such as making your own runes or making like a goddess figure. The thing I really liked about this book was the recipes section. I thought that one was really fun, as well as the spells, because of course I always love when books include like budget-friendly things. Now personally, I don't know how budget-friendly her recipes would be right now with the current inflation on groceries, but there's a few of them that I'd be interested in trying. As per usual with any Deborah Blake book, I love her writing voice that she uses. She never tries to be too academic, which I've noticed some authors really love to do. She doesn't try to sound better than thou and like speak way up here so that the average person is kind of lost. She doesn't do that. She's also not too casual. She finds that nice medium. Again, I just really like her writing voice. I think she does a phenomenal job, and it seems to transfer across all of her books, which is lovely. Her ideas are very simple. A lot of these you've probably come across. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you might not have thought of it, and it is nice to have it all in one place. That said, the only thing I didn't really love at this book was the, like, kind of the second to last chapter, which was like 50 things that you could do on like a low to no budget thing. That list was not really it for me. Like, it was the most sporadic and random things that were not witchy to me. Like, take a nap. How is that witchy? And like, you should go call a friend, call a loved one, hug yourself. And I'm like, this is not what I would expect from this book. That has nothing to do with the other. And there are some things that was like, yeah, kind of. Like, you should go and enjoy the moonlight and the sunlight. Sure. Make a connection with the elements and the gods. Sure. Overall, that 50 was just kind of odd. And I always hate when books do that, when they end on such a flop note where the rest of the book was really good and you're just like, really? So anyways, it's not that it was terrible, but just that last bit was just not it for me. Overall though, the rest of the book was good, and she does reference a few of her other books here and there, but unlike the last book I talked about, she does it really well because she still explains stuff and you could still proceed without really needing the other books. Eventually I will buy her other ones, we're getting there, but I just wanted to include that little note because I talked about that in the last book where he was constantly referencing his other works. She does a little bit, but then it's more like, this is an excerpt from this book. If you want more along those lines, buy my book, which is like, yeah, that's, I mean, authors want to sell their books. That makes sense. Speaking of which, she does have a lot of recommended books, and I love when authors do that. They are happy to admit they don't know everything and that it's always good to have more resources. And so eventually I do want to buy a lot of the books on her recommended readings list. I think I've mentioned that for every single one of her books I've read, but her recommended readings list is phenomenal, so I'm very excited to eventually start adding those to my own library. But yeah, that is going to be it for this book review. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and bless be.